Okay, I just wanted to make a quick video to explain to you guys why I think everybody should get an UPS. Now, we've got one here on the home server. We've got one on the living room TV and the computers in there. We've got one on the fridge. Each of the kids has one on their televisions. Uh, Basically, this is the UPS. It's got two batteries in this one. It's an inline battery, so you plug all your stuff into this, then you plug this into the wall. And what happens is all of your stuff is constantly running off of this battery, and this battery is constantly being recharged by the wall outlet. The benefit to that is that if the power goes out, your stuff never shuts off. Your stuff keeps going. Now you can hear a little cooling fan kicked on in here, and you've got like an estimated runtime, and you can flip through and see all sorts of different information. I could literally be playing Mario Kart online, and the power could go off, and I can still play because there's an UPS on the modem and the router, and there's an UPS in here on the living room television. But the end result is your stuff never gets turned off. Your stuff never experiences that flicker or things of that nature. Now, it'll also kick in and cut off the incoming power if it spikes the voltage way too high or if it dips way too low. And what that does is not only does it protect your stuff from those on-off type flickers, but it also gives you enough time to say, all right, the power doesn't look like it's going to come on. Let's go ahead and shut down all these computers and things properly so that our hard drives don't get corrupted or things of that nature. Now, this one is 1500 volt amps. It'll output about 700 watts, and this one ran me about $160 on Amazon. But they also make much smaller and cheaper ones. You can see this one is basically just a glorified power strip that only has one battery in it. I use this one on the nightstand for our bed that runs like our lamps and things of that nature. So if the power goes out in the middle of the night, I can still reach over and turn my lamp on and have light to get around with. Now, I've also got one down here that runs our refrigerator, and it's got a little Raspberry Pi here that's mining cryptocurrency. But this way, the refrigerator does not get hit with those flickers on and off, which can damage the compressor and something like a deep freeze or a refrigerator. Now, this is another 700 watt one, like the one that runs our server in there. So it says we've got about 600 minutes. But if we open the freezer, so you can see here now that the compressor's running, we've got about 47 minutes of the compressor running. That's about how much runtime we've got left. But that gives you enough time to realize whether the power is going to come back on or not. And it also, if it's going to be a rapid flicker, it keeps that kind of stuff out of your compressor. Now, one of the other neat things about it is that if you've got a computer set up, there's software available. This is actually a management cable that connects the computer to the UPS so that the computer can actually keep track of how much charge is left in the UPS batteries and the state of the UPS. And so the way this server is set up is if the power goes off and it stays off and the battery in this drops to 5 minutes remaining, the server will actually automatically shut itself down gracefully. And when you buy these, they come with a management cable with them. So you don't even have to be home in order to protect your computers from power outages. You can install the software and set it up, and it'll actually take care of itself. It'll monitor the UPS by itself, and it'll do things on its own if the UPS batteries get too low. And just to clarify, this does output 120 volts AC. You don't have to put anything between this and the stuff that you would want to plug into it. You can plug your items into this the same way that you would plug them directly into the wall. Now, this one is an APC brand, 1500 VA. But there's all sorts of other brands and companies that make them. There's Cyber Power, I think, is one. And there are several brands that make these. But basically, it's called an UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. It'll be labeled UPS. This one is 1500 VA. It'll output about 700 watts. Now, how long it lasts when the power goes out just depends on how much of a draw is on that device at that time. If you're barely drawing anything, like if it's just a light bulb, it might last you 4 or 5 hours. If you've got a computer or a fridge running, you get 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends on how much juice you're drawing out of that particular unit. But I highly recommend, especially if you live in Eastern Kentucky, where our power is not the most reliable thing. If the wind blows and a tree touches the power line, your power flickers around here. Especially if you live in Eastern Kentucky. Take your tax return and at least get one of these and put it on your most valuable items, your computers, your televisions, things of that nature, because your televisions, the LEDs, can be burned out by those rapid flickers if it's on when that power does that. So I highly recommend everybody get at least one of these. Put your high value items on it just to protect it from the unreliable and dirty power that comes from the power company. Now, when you go looking for these online, you're going to find all sorts of different options ranging up into the thousands of dollars. For 99% of your normal home use cases, you have no need to spend any more than, say, $200 on the top end. Now, this one has lead acid batteries in it, but they now make these that have lithium ion batteries that are lighter, last longer, but are more expensive. So you have the option of getting better batteries at the expense of, higher cost. They also have these that produce pure sine wave AC. Now, this one does not. The ones that produce pure sine wave AC are generally more expensive. But for things like this computer or my television that's just going to convert it right back into some sort of DC current anyway, it doesn't matter that this doesn't produce pure sine wave AC. So for the vast majority of you guys out there that just need something to protect your stuff from outages and flickers and surges and dips and things, just get yourself something for anywhere between $50 and $200, depending on how much you plan on plugging into it, and that's all you really need. You can go a little higher if you want to get lithium-ion batteries to make them last a little longer so you don't have to replace them as often, but you don't need to worry about spending thousands of dollars. $100, $200 will get you squared away, and it will save you a whole lot of headache in the future.